Hello, Wolfpack fans, and welcome to another edition of Wolfpack Watch. This, the end of the regular season Wolfpack Watch. After a loss here in the den to McEachern 49-19. However, we will tell you what that ends up getting us in just a second. My co-host, as usual, Coach Bob Bryant. Thanks for joining us again.
Yes, sir.
Coach, let's talk about the game on Friday night first before we get to the better news. 49-19, we're going up against a very tough McEachern team. With our third-string quarterback. Obviously, you could see there was quite a bit of a talent difference between the two schools, as you said in our last episode. And sure enough, play number one out of the box, they run like an 80-yard touchdown with Jordan Simmons. Just give us your general thoughts on the game, and then we'll go into some specifics.
Well, they were who we thought they were. We could win, But we want to go into the game offensively. We wanted the ball first because we wanted to run the football and take some time off the clock and try to get the game in the second half. And our opening drive, we got 3 first downs. We had the ball for 5.5 minutes, and then punted to them. That was a win for us at that time because we ran almost half the quarter off the clock. And then when they go and they score on the very first play. And then, we get the ball back and 3 and out. And they score on the second play. That kind of, if we're trying to compete in the game, that kind of gets us out of our game plan, what we're going to do. And, I thought Creasy came in. I thought he did a good job, he didn't turn the ball over. Passed for over 100 yards. It was a different animal, the team we played. And getting down 21-0 to start in the first half, I think our kids saw. I think they were a little bit in shock and awe to begin with at McEachern when you see them. Because they're a very big team and they're athletic, and I think our kids after the initial shock of it decided, hey, you know what, if we buckle down, we can play with these guys if we just buckle down and do what we're supposed to do. And then the rest of the game, I thought the kids fought and did a much better job than what we did in the first quarter.
Talk about the mindset of the coaching staff and the team after the strip fumble return for the touchdown that I think it was by Matthew Hoffman that made it 21-12. We're only 9 points away. They lose their starting quarterback. Yep. The feeling on the sideline had to be a bit different at that point.
It was, and we thought then, all right, we've got a chance. We've a good defensive play has set us up to move the ball on them offensively after that, and let's get a stop on defense, and then let's score another one before the half. We called a timeout to try to get the ball back, and then their backup quarterback came in and threw just 3 fade balls, and we had everybody bailing, and their receivers just made great plays on the ball, just out jumped our guys for the ball and got position, and they went up another score right before the half, and then got the ball to start the second half. So, again, we went over film with our guys this week in practice, and, mistakes, against a really, really good football team. We've got to be able to play mistake-free football in the first half to try to get it to the second half, and that's something that we didn't do on either side of the ball or special teams in the first half.
Yeah, one of the things that I thought was relatively interesting, and they're minor plays, but certainly they have an impact on the game. But we had 2 extra points blocked by the same player. Yep. Off the edge. Obviously, that kid is pretty quick, I would assume. But did we have a breakdown in coverage both times, or was he just beating us?
Well, that's something that we've worked on a lot this week in practice, from the timing, from the snap, where the hold is placed down, when Brock makes his approach towards the ball. That's something we've worked on a lot this week in practice. All 3 of those things, coupled with him being a really good athlete coming off the edge, resulted in those 2 blocks. So hopefully we've got that fixed going into this week, because we spent an inordinate amount of time on making sure that that's fixed going into this week's game.
And speaking of going into this week's game, that's the good news. The Wolfpack have made the playoffs again. And how many years straight is this now, Coach?
I think that's 8.
8 straight years that the North Paulding program has made the playoffs at the varsity level. We were given the at-large bid via the Max Preps power rating, and we will be playing as the at-large team against McEachern, at McEachern this time. So we're right back at it against the McEachern Indians this week, 7:30 on Friday night at their house. And while on paper, and certainly from last week's game, it doesn't look too good, hey, we're in the playoffs and we've got a chance. And you never know what's going to happen. What is your game plan? Without giving specifics, what have you guys talked about? I know slowing the game down and running time off that clock is obviously going to be important, but anything else specifically that you see that we could do differently aside from slowing their offense down, which is tough? What are your thoughts coming up for Friday night?
The two things that we didn't do a good job of Friday night that win or lose every football game, no matter what we do offensively or defensively, is block and tackle. I mean, we missed over 20 tackles Friday night, and several times on offense we missed blocks that would have sprung us for a 5 or 6 yard gain to put us in second and short, and we just didn't make the blocks and we didn't make the tackles. And against a really good football team like McEachern, when we have a chance to tackle them for a loss or tackle them for a 1 or 2 yard gain, then we've got to make those. We got to make those tackles. And same thing blocking wise. When we're trying to run the ball and trying to move the chains, then we've got to make blocks on the line and at receiver, and we've got to hit the hole fast and not pitter patter our feet. Our running backs. It's just a total thing that we've got to do better. We've got to block and tackle, and that's kind of a double-edged sword for us in practice because we've got so many kids that are out with injury and hurt that we need to tackle more in practice. We need to block live more in practice, but we're down to, we've lost 3 offensive linemen, and we've lost a defensive lineman, a linebacker, 2 in the secondary. I mean, it's a mass unit over there on our sideline with kids being hurt. So, do we tackle more in practice? Do we block live more in practice and take a chance on getting somebody else hurt leading into Friday night? We did more live contact on Monday than we normally do, taking guys to the ground, and we lost 2 on Monday for injury. Hopefully we're going to get one of them back, today or tomorrow. So we're hoping that we're going to be in better shape going into the game on Friday at McEachern. And we told our kids right now, everybody that's in the playoffs has got the same record. It's 0-0. It doesn't matter what you've done before, whether you're the region champion or whether you're in an at-large bid. Everybody's record is the same right now. It's survive and advance, and that's what we're trying to do right now, is survive McEachern's wave of athleticism and offense, defense, and trying to get it to the fourth quarter, and then trying to shock them and shock everybody by stealing a win in the fourth quarter against a very good McEachern team.
And looking at it from their mentality, and not to say that they will, I'm sure their coach is going to have them try to look at this the way they should, but they just beat us 49-19 at our place. They know we're down to our third string quarterback. They know on paper our team doesn't match up with them. Who knows, maybe the players take us too lightly on Friday night, and maybe we do get a chance to shock them. What I would like to see more than anything else, obviously a win, but a close game in the fourth quarter to where they're actually biting their nails. And we'll see what happens Friday night. You got any tricks in your bag that you might want to pull out this Friday night to, not that you want to give it away on this, but got a few things for them that they might not have seen this year?
Well, we've got one kid on our team that was born in Canada. So what we're going to do is we're going to play 12 on offense and defense this week and have several guys in motion. And, I don't think they'll be expecting that. So that'll give us a leg up on offense and defense, having an extra guy out there. And, we'll use it since we got a guy from Canada on our team. That's, they play 12 guys in Canadian football. So that's what we're going to try to do this week against McEachern.
And have them run the extra 10 yards on the field, too. That'd be kind of nice.
That's right.
Also, if they don't want to start their starters again, you can make that plea as well. They obviously didn't listen to you last week.
They didn't listen.
I was very disappointed.
They must not watch the Wolfpack Watch.
Well,
I don't understand that.
I backed it up. I actually talked to the coaches in the press box and pleaded with them with your plea, and they kind of shook me off. I did my best, but we're looking forward to Friday night. Look, it's playoff football regardless of the way you look at it. We were 6-4, 1-4 in the region. Is it the year that we thought we were going to have? Certainly no. But it is a year nonetheless that we kept our senses about us. We had so many injuries. so many issues that we've had throughout the season to deal with. And to be in the playoffs in this position is certainly a testament to your coaching staff, the players that are still around to play, and this community for backing this team. So I ask that anybody who can get out there Friday night, it might be a little chilly out there this Friday night, but get out there and root for this team. We always travel well anyway. And you know what? We may lose this game, but if we do happen to pull out a miracle, you'll want to be there to see it. And you'll want to be able to say, I saw North Paulding beat McEachern in the first round of the playoffs in 2019. So I encourage everybody to get out there. Coach, any last thoughts before we leave?
Yeah, we're anticipating winning the game. We're not going into the game thinking that we're going to lose the game.
There we go.
You know, we're going into the game and we're going to anticipate winning the game. If we're not gonna go into the game and expect to win, then why the heck are we practicing right now? So, you know, practicing when it's 19 degrees yesterday with the wind chill. You know, the guys that are remaining on the team that have done like they're supposed to, stayed out of trouble. You know, showed up to practice every day, regardless of the weather, regardless of how they felt. You know, fought through injuries, minor injuries and bumps and bruises. You know, that's what football is all about. And you know, I commend those guys that have made it this far, because I've been coaching for 23 years, and the amount of adversity that this team has had to go through this year with several different things that have happened, from kids getting injured to kicked off to, you know, deaths in the family. I mean, just so much stuff that, you know, the kids that are still out here, you know, have really shown their resiliency and getting through the year. And you know, what a great way to reward those guys for having a playoff game when nobody thought that we would go to the playoffs, you know, after all the adversity and injuries and stuff that we had this year. So, you know, I commend the kids. They've done a great job of fighting through the adversity that we've had each week and each day. I mean, almost every day is something else that I've got to deal with. If all I had to do was coach football, it'd be an easy gig. But, you know, it's a lot of other stuff that we've got to deal with on a day-to-day basis that a lot of the fans and families don't really see that we have to do. But, you know, I commend our kids and our coaching staff for, you know, showing up to work every day. I mean, which is what they're going to have to do in life. If stuff's not going their way, they're still going to have to get their tail out of bed and go to work and do what they're supposed to do. And that's what the majority of our kids have done this entire year, and I praise them for that.
Well, think about this, Wolfpack fans. We only have 6 teams in our region, and 5 of them are going to the playoffs. That's pretty impressive in and of itself. A team that we lost to on the road, where our 2 quarterbacks got hurt, has got to go to Lowndes to play their first round game, Hillgrove. And they are a pretty good team, and they got to go all the way south to play that game in Valdosta. So that speaks to the level of competitiveness in this region, and it's 7A period. So listen to Coach. They're practicing to win this week. We want to win this week. We want you to get out there to support this team to win this week. Let's get a first round win and move on to the second round. Coach, thanks for joining me as usual.
Sir, thank you.
Go Pack Friday night.
Go Pack.